Major Music.
Welcome to another episode of the Major Music Lounge podcast. Today we're actually going to talk to TeayaMay, who's actually an artist from Colorado, and I got a chance to listen to some of her work as well as, check out some of the other projects that she's been working on. And we're just going to discuss that and her journey creating music. And if you're an independent artist or also a producer, I'm definitely looking to have these conversations with you. I'm looking to book future interviews. You can reach out to me on any one of my social platforms, and you can find me on Instagram at d._major music. Same thing on TikTok, and if you use Threads, same thing on Threads. Also on Twitter and X is a little bit different. It's d.mme. But reach out to me and we'll try to get a date. But this is just a platform for creators to come on and talk about their journey creating music, maybe some of the projects that they're working on, and whatever it is, maybe it is a trending topic in the music industry. So hit me up on one of those platforms and I'll be sure to get you on. Now let's go ahead and get into the interview. I'd like to welcome everybody to another edition of the Major Music Lounge podcast. It's your boy D Dot along with TeayaMay, straight out of Colorado. What's good?
Yo, yo, yo. What's good, everybody?
It's good to have you on. Good to have you on. What part of Colorado are you from?
Denver primarily.
Denver. Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Word. So tell us a little bit about like how long have you been creating music?
Well, the passion started, when I was younger with poetry and everything like that, and kind of being more introverted. So I kind of used writing as a way to vent and, express myself. But as far as like actually taking it serious and recording and everything since about like 2012, I'd say.
Okay. Yeah, listening to like a lot of your tracks, I went through that like Socially Awkward album, and I also listened to the I think it was Lost Face. That was your recent one, a single that you dropped last year. And
Yeah.
your flow, I really like your delivery. I like your production. I like a lot of the, just content you were rapping about. Who are some of your influences?
I'd say like more like Missy Elliott and like like the old school female MCs that have more substance rather than like all the female MCs that are being like sexualized and just like ain't rapping about nothing really. I prefer like more lyricism and more deep thinking and stuff like that. So honestly, my influence is any female that's not influenced by, what's being influential, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I could see a lot of like just there's a lot of just diverse topics on the album that I listened to, and I think that I could kind of hear some of that missing in some of your flow for that. And like, do you do beats too?
No, I actually do like graphics though. I do video editing, like EPK design. I do other stuff besides rap, but primarily just, rap mostly. I wish I could make beats. So if any producers are listening, I am looking for new producers always.
All right. Well, I may have to reach out to you with some beats. You got, some projects coming up, so we can definitely link on that. Um, Now I also noticed that on your page you had a placement for a movie, uh, Murder City. Tell us a little bit about that. Like, was that from a connection that you maybe had prior to, I guess, getting the placement, or was that something maybe like you submitted some music for and you got selected?
I actually submitted some music for reality TV show, just kind of like, background music or whatnot. And a music supervisor had reached out to me. He listened to my song and said that, I want to use your song for something else that I'm working on. So it ended up just, making cut in the movie. So it went a lot farther than I expected it to, which was also, wonderful. I'm very blessed for that.
Yeah, you should be definitely. Um, Like a lot of artists, I feel they don't cover or they just think the only way to make music is by selling, their tracks on iTunes or, these major platforms, and they forget about the whole publishing aspect of it when it comes to like film and television. Um, from your perspective,
Oh
like
yeah.
how important do you think it is for artists to really explore that avenue? Because there's a lot of, I know like other producers that they might have music on ESPN. I have music in video games, for example, and it's something that I've done like 3 or 4 years ago, I think it was, but I'm still getting royalties for it now. So, it's not necessarily something that I guess changed my way of life as of right now, but at the same time, I'm still profiting off of my music. So how would you say is important for artists to be able to seek these
Yeah.
opportunities?
I feel like it's extremely important. Like, a lot of artists might want to just get in the booth, record something and release it. But, if you really want to be an artist, there's a lot of paperwork that does go behind the scenes. Like, I have a whole label, New West Management, and we got people behind us. We have like, a bunch of different things. It's not just, me going to the studio, recording music and calling it that. So, I mean, if you do want to be an artist, there is a lot of behind the scenes stuff that you have to do. You have to get your publishing, you got to get your copyrights. You got to make sure your beats are exclusive and not, just purchase your tracks today, everything like that on, BeatStars, all that, whatever. You got to just make sure that your stuff is official pretty much. So, I mean, if you're not willing to put in all that footwork, then I definitely suggest you find something else to get involved with that requires less work, because being an artist is definitely hard work on all avenues, especially paperwork.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of artists, for example, don't even know what a performance rights organization is. Um, yeah, getting paid royalties, not just off of like streaming platforms, but in film and
Yeah,
television. And they, I know a lot of producers even they're giving beats away without contracts, and they're getting screwed out of royalties on that end. So it's like I think education is important when it comes to creating music. In addition to, like you were saying, artists being able to invest in yourself, because if you're investing in yourself, you got to see a return at some point, and that's going to only make you work harder and grind harder, learn more about the craft of creating music. So I definitely agree with you on that. How would you say, like, relating to Denver, how is the music scene in Denver?
there's a lot of talent out here, but it's pretty much like bias. Like, people put their friends on, and it's a lot of favoritism, it's a lot of haterism, it's a lot of, just a combination of a whole bunch of different things why Colorado's not on the way it should be. So, but there is a lot of talent in the state, I'll give it that. But just, a lot of egos that outweigh the talent, pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah, I feel you on that. Like, uh, that's like, because I'm originally from Louisiana. I'm originally from a small town, Louisiana, called
Yeah.
Lafayette, and then I moved out here to Dallas, and it's similar in a lot of places. I said this on a show that I did a while back, but a lot more of my connections are actually from outside of the city in terms of people
Mm-hmm.
that I work with. And it's kind of funny how that works, but the show must go on. And I feel like
Exactly.
those connections have, networking has kind of got me further outside of the city than, in the city. So I'm just gonna continue to rely on those opportunities. Then eventually in the city they'll probably come and want to start working at some point. But we'll see.
Exactly.
We'll see. Now, as far as your single or excuse me, last face, is that our lost face, excuse me. Um, is that something that's going on a future project, or is that kind of just a single you put out there or released last year?
Just a single, more or less since that project that I've done a while back. I've been just kind of doing singles and features and, collaborations, things like that. I'm probably gonna do one more project. It's still kind of in the works, but until then, I'm just doing singles as of now. And just more so focusing on potential placements and things outside of like the typical go sell tickets, perform. Just,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
trying to find different ways to capitalize off my craft.
Yeah, and I think that's also a great strategy. I talked about like there's got to be a fine line between releasing music, and that could be in the form of a single, could be in the form of an EP or album, but versus like a lot of creators that they put out music, but it's not quality music, and I feel like sometimes you'd be better off maybe if there was not an album that you wanted to put out, maybe putting out a smaller project or a single
Hmm.
rather than because I also think if you don't put anything out, like the way the game go now, I mean, you may not stay relevant long, in terms of if you're trying to gain a
Hmm.
bigger fan base or, even network. So, do you create mainly like, and I know you kind of said a little bit about it, but like, do you create mainly off of inspiration, or is it something maybe that you you set a goal for? Maybe I want to come up with a song, in a certain amount of time, or I just want to, I'm inspired and I want to release something. Like, how is your creative
Sometimes,
process?
sometimes the beat will just kind of inspire me on which way I want to take it. But lately I've been trying to do it like I'll do a turned up song and then I'll do like a more deep type of song just to kind of give me that diversity. But and also I like to try to make my songs a little bit shorter because we know nowadays people's attention span isn't that long. They're not going to listen to no five
Yeah,
minute song.
yeah,
So, you just got to pay attention to certain things. But me, as far as like my creativity process, just like the beat kind of might inspire me or just like what I'm going through, just typical, typical things that I guess inspire artists. But I don't know. I just try to like mix it up to make sure that I'm staying diverse and also test my creativity in different ways.
yeah. That's fair. I mean, the
Yeah.
inspiration, especially for, I mean, I produce mainly, but like at times on my projects, I work with other producers, and sometimes I might just hear somebody else's work, and that's something that I draw inspiration from when I just hear a new sound, a new vibe from another producer. And then like even me as a producer sending tracks to an artist, should I say, like sometimes I don't know that kind of motivates me too when I from a creative standpoint when I see people rapping over my beats, especially that I never worked with before, and just seeing because I feel
I
like
bet.
yeah, I feel like I can pull a certain, or we could start a new sound together, I guess if that makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
that probably has been untapped. And I started linking up with another artist at least a couple of months ago that I'm working with, and kind of like some of the stuff that he's working with. Shout out to Don Majesty. But now what do you have on tap for the remainder of, I know it's just in March, we're about to go into April in a couple of weeks, but like what other kind of plans do you have for 2024?
Um, I got a couple singles that I'm about to record, that's already written and everything, a couple little features and everything, but more or less, just maybe trying to get my visuals up a little bit better, even
Okay.
if it's just like a little freestyle videos here and there, just something, just other than streaming platforms. Just branching out, I guess, just putting stuff out that I don't already have, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's very important, I think, that artists, producers have some kind of content in 2024, not just the representation of the music, but like um I think fans want to see a visual. I think, and I said this as well before, but I think having a video is almost as important as having a show because you have a lot of fans that you might have from across the country, even across the world in a lot of cases. And if, let's just say, for example, you get a video, I don't know, 500 to 1,000 views versus you mentioned earlier selling tickets
Yeah.
like, you know, you get a better return off of a video that you might have shot versus the tickets that you got to take the time out. Because I've been there myself, and yeah, that's that's not fun.
No. You got to spend gas to go sell the tickets. You got to buy the tickets. You got to, there's just so much that goes into ticket selling. And I mean, if you don't have the fan base for it, you're just creating more work for yourself, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. It's that company, there was a company called Afton Shows, I think the name. Is that them?
I've heard of Aston before.
Yeah, yeah. So like they I did I did a show with them years ago, and they had sent me a check for like $10 after selling like
Oh no.
20 tickets. And I'm like, after that, I was done with them.
It's
Yeah, I was done.
disrespectful.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, the gas might have costed more to go out and sell those
And it
tickets.
costs $3 to cash the check. So then what you got? Like
So yeah, and after that, it was never again. And I also didn't like the time they would do their shows at like very odd times. I found like yeah,
Oh man, that's
yeah.
funny.
So as far as like producers, what type of sound? I kind of heard you had a little bit of trap, you had a little bit of kind of like some soulful vibes on that album, but like what kind of beats do you kind of go in there looking for?
Just something that's like different sounding and like catchy or something that, is kind of inspirational. Like one of my favorite beats is the Schoolboy Q Blessed beat, just because the vocals in the background is so like beautiful. Like I just like beats. It's hard to describe. I don't have like a certain style that I like, just something that's captivating. Something that like is not your typical, Ice Spice beat, whatever. Just
Yeah,
something that's different because I'm different. So I like things that kind of, go off being different, I guess you could say.
yeah, yeah. I guess you could say I kind of my sound always changing. I mean, I had my era where I was rapping over like a lot of trap beats, and I went with a lot of like old school hip hop type of beats, and now I'm kind of on a West Coast tip, so it's kind of guess whatever vibe I'm feeling at that moment. And I work with a couple other producers too, so they're always sending me stuff as well. So I never know. Like, in fact, I'm working on a album now that somebody else is producing completely, and then I'm gonna do another album after that I'm gonna produce myself. But it just kind of really depends on my vibe at that moment. It might even be somebody that I'm a fan of comes out with an album or a video or something that I see, and
Yeah.
I'm inspired by that. So yeah, that's kind of my process as well. Do you do any shows like outside of the state, or have you done any shows outside of your area?
I've done shows outside of my area. As far as right now, my team is the one that's mostly looking at outside of the state opportunities. I have two toddlers right now, and my
Okay.
husband does music as well. So, my focus is more like finding ways to capitalize online while they go out and do the shows like in other states and stuff while I hold it down here.
Yeah.
But yeah, my team, New West Management, they are looking to travel. So if you guys know any opportunities or anywhere, any venues or any plugs, let us know because they are looking to tour soon.
Yeah. Yeah. And where can our listeners like connect with you at?
Well, me personally, I can be found anywhere. Just Google TeaYamay. That's TeaYamay. I'm everywhere. And then by finding me, you can also find my team too. Call me who else, Lodi Trail, just New West Management. We're pretty Google friendly.
Okay, word. I always like to ask this question during every show, but for like a lot of the up and coming artists that listen to the show and producers, but what's one thing that you learned along the way as a music creator that, you know, maybe something you could have done differently or, just some type of game that you can share with some of the other listeners?
Just beware of your surroundings, and the music business is a dirty business, so don't trust everybody that smile in your face ain't your friends. Everybody that might not support you now might be your biggest supporter down the road, and your biggest supporter now might be your biggest enemy down the road. So you just got to keep your eyes open, your ears open, and stay focused, and just if make sure that it's really what you want to do because it does require a lot from someone. So make sure that you're invested money wise and just internally wise because it does take a toll on you. So just whatever you want to do, make sure that's your passion, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. 'Cause you gotta invest time, you gotta invest money at some point, like you might build relationships with certain producers, but you also gotta invest in studio time, you gotta invest in videos.
Yep.
You may have to invest if you want to even like rent a venue to do a show. I know some people out here in Dallas,
Hmm.
they do that, and just like we talked about earlier, you gotta get a return. And once you get in, this is something that you gotta do long term, or you got to look to do long term because I mean, I know plenty of people that I started out with years ago that they aren't doing it anymore. They're
Yeah.
just they're doing other things now, and everybody has their time, but it's something that I don't look at as a hobby. I look at something that it paid some of my bills at some point. So, it's
Yep.
a legit career. And, the other side to that is you got to also, in terms of focus, you may have people that are close to you that, maybe they try to get you away from doing music and because they don't believe in it. And that's a legit hard part to the game itself. And,
Yep.
at times, you got to, I'm not saying necessarily let those people go, but you got to prioritize, okay, well, they don't believe in me. Why am I spending my time with them versus being in the
Hmm.
studio and shooting videos and things like that? Like, what also kind of shout outs do you have?
Just, my team, New West Management, just What's Good Radio, because they've been helping a lot with us and our progression and everything. Just shout out to everybody up and coming. Just, shout out to anybody who has the heart to try to do this because it's not easy. So, and shout out to, you for having me on your podcast.
Oh, no,
Appreciate it.
no problem, no problem. Definitely appreciate you reaching out to me and glad to finally have had this conversation because I think it was like a week ago, maybe a little over a week. But we got a chance to set it up and I really enjoyed the music that I listened to from you and keep up the great work and
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Anytime there's a new project that you have or, anything any way that I can work with you, please feel free to reach out and yeah, we'll definitely make it happen again.
Certainly. And if you want to send our team beats or anything too, just network with me. You know how to get a hold of me. So we definitely do some networking after this as well.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna get your email after I'm gonna do a quick sign off, but yeah, I'm gonna get your
Okay.
email in just a moment. And then give your Twitter and your Instagram real quick.
It's just TeayaMay everything. So Instagram TeayaMay, Twitter TeayaMay,
All
just
right.
everything TeayaMay.
All
And
right.
that's TeaYamay.
All right. Go ahead, give her a follow. Check out some of her music on all the streaming platforms out there. And you could actually follow me on Instagram at d._major music. Same thing on Threads, same thing on TikTok. And it's a little bit different on Twitter, d.mme. And independent artists, producers, industry professionals, please reach out to me. Would definitely love to have you on the show. This has been D Dot and Tia May on the Major Music Lounge, and we are out.